But this is right around, yeah, some gallons a day. Well, for some family, that comes up to about 300,000 gallons a year. So let's look at this going, does this, is this gonna hurt? For families with a lot of kids, we're like, since we have a small lot, we get a lot of turf grass, like that's just the reality of what it is. And, so most of our is grass is constantly used water. So some of the realities about this. Maybe the left person, maybe to make it too punitive towards large families, they don't think they're.
I looked at your report and they didn't differentiate. You know, it's my stuff.
Since they don't have that.
Exactly. I think the other thing was basically 1% are using that. That's all they you go from here to here. But you should be able to say rate, and then you go here, and they're getting all this range.
But you're talking about 6%.
Exactly.
That's the differentiation. If we do household size. But I've seen, one person, one person household is going to be 300,000 gallons. What are they doing for us?
It's not everything. That's why I said that. Yes, there are live families, 7 or 8 kids. So by exception, I think you could give. If the major thing we were struggling with, why would the rate go down? Year to year, why would the rate go up or at least stay the same?
Well, I don't know, I think the rate goes down. Associated with it, right? So the rate per gallon is the same for everybody. But if you want to, everybody has a, $15 infrastructure fee. Because the same amount of infrastructure serves every house. One service line for every house, the impact on the system as a whole. So some of that was like we instituted, this council instituted that $15 fee. So that's a flat rate no matter how much you use. So that means you use less, you're paying less per gallon, but you're paying for every other increase in the rest of the year. So I hear and I see the contradiction, the challenge there. I'm going to be hesitant to be supportive of a rate structure than my current.
If we had better data, we could address it.
Yeah, this didn't get granular enough in the report to understand this. Right. When I lived in Highlands Ranch, he had a very firm structure that was tiered, and there were 3 tiers to it. And the more you use, the more you pay. And so I felt, they're being willing to do that, but it did penalize people from overwatering, particularly lawns and things like that. I think that's what we were looking at, is whether this is an issue of lawn usage. We're talking about a lot of solutions in terms of turf replacement that could make sense. And using it like that. So anyway.
Very curious if you mentioned tiered rate structure as a suggestion. I'd be curious to see what Highlands Ranch does. How do they for I'm sure we're not the first.
We have a VIP that I should start. I would start.
I think that's what I was thinking about. This is why are we going simply for that's what I'm just get to that. But I think the tiered rate structure is what we have right now.
She's right, the bond means really good. We could also make any of our vegetarian. No, the bond means, the bond means a sandwich. If we want to do a burger, that's first time. It's really good.
It just seems obvious. And
We use a video for it.
everybody doesn't have water meters. My thought was, I just send the city, give people water meters, just make them free. I mean, if everyone put in any couple of times, but admit, I would guess, the higher interest rates, like people don't realize.
They don't know, neighbors know that. But they absolutely do. I know some people who are not on the meter and they flood their lungs. It's true. They take advantage of it, but.
Where's the other stuff? Like, it's 13%.
And then there's something, and yeah, I'm on the water and sewer board and we talked a lot about water infrastructure. It is the high priority to get those meters straightened out. It's also quite expensive, so we have to have a funding scheme for it. That's included in our water master plan, so the place those. But it will be an investment. So we have some funds moving into the budget, $30 million, $50 million. Is that right? Right there? So
30,
that's-
38?
Yeah, but part of that's dedicated towards.
Yeah.
So that's absolutely on the radar. So
It's like, to that point, consideration choose.
Yeah.
That's fine, it's not a small amount of money How much is it? for 1,200 meters. I'd like to know that.
They have that number.
If it's 13%.
Love to hear it, guys.
Give it to them. Get those meters in. I don't know if there's some legalities you got to.
I mean, this isn't just people not being needed. This is leakage, this is.
There are challenges with that because if we don't know, you go to measure how much water, we can measure how much water is going out of the place. And you can measure how much water is being used at every meter.
Right.
But there, circumstances, homes, we know meters on. We can't actually measure the efficiency because we can't meter everything on the other end. So that's really important, just for.
Let's come back to number one and see if we want to do 18. So number two. Yeah. It sounds like number two, more, that would be well received. And just try to talk to you for a few minutes. George's fair share, see what sort of minutes is there. Right, Christine, number one, water use conservation consideration number one. Encourage, require water utilities to be in any construction. So we want to talk about that a little bit, that's the IGCC report. Just real quick.
I was just gonna say, we see like.
Joe, can I grab the?
I don't think there's anything to add. I think the problem is trying to get at new construction and build it right the first way. And the solution would be to consider adopting just that water efficiency chapter from the International Green Construction Code, IGCC.
So it's specific to new construction, is that right? Yeah, check. Number two, encourage sustainable water use. I've heard Dana say this too. It's expressed here, very little emphasis on landscaping opportunities in the plan. And it says. Water efficiency activities in the town. There are some specifics. Encouraging the city to look at 56, 95, and I appreciate those. Specific others. And that's building through. Yeah, it says the developments. Each councilman indicates that will come next. Like, we're going to represent the service to the development.
Yeah, it's developed because
That's currently ongoing. And I guess that's good.
well, that's already been drafted, so this is, there's something in there that can be done. Now is the time. Yeah.
Okay, good. So I'm glad that we have that in there, right? And she did, there was a mention of starting points for activities at city parks, golf courses, and school systems. So I appreciate the starting point for out there. Before we, it's like, get going, right? So it's something you have. So, any other thoughts on consideration number two?
No,
It was. Can I ask on the code? Yes. We read it already. That's all.
No, it's not yet, and I just asked today if as soon as as soon as it's available, we'll have a copy. Because all the readings, we're, as council going to start looking at it on November 11th. So I'm hoping to have it at least a week before that, but it's not released yet.
Oh, man, but like.
And then what's the window is whatever's in there, the line that says proposing, how do you propose a change for already?
The process there is council has a series of study sessions on it in November. And that's where we'll get our input on it. And so that would probably be the best time is to come speak to city council directly and comment during that period. Because then it's going to go back to P and Z, which you could also go to P and Z and have comments on it during the public hearing. And then next year, come back to council after it's approved by P and Z. So there's still several steps where you can engage. And then the final version before city council, there'll be a public hearing too. The earlier you get your suggestions into that process, the more likely they're going to be incorporated into the draft bill here when it's adopted.
If this particular point is water conservation consideration of a city, excuse me, suggestion. We don't receive my council with that, there be another action step that we need to take, or this should suffice for council. Into the trash.
I would definitely, you know, I think that this is a piece of the puzzle, but let me just speak out there. So,
You and Bell, maybe keep us surprised because those dates are.
Comment?
Well,
We may want to consider putting together a similar memo about the revised UDC once it comes out, similar to our memo on this one. And that could be one of the points within it.
I like that. Let's about that. But we have time on the meetings. When can we
It's not much time. I mean, it's coming up in November.
In November, let's.
Well, it's a long process. We're meeting starting up the that's the city council. Study session or so you go through November and city council. That's the time frame where you want to. So yeah, if you want to do that, it's like getting it out in November. So between November and December.
Tonight, was your interest to rate that we don't refer to Matt, we don't. Calculators, so we don't have access to that.
There's not gonna be a lot. Like, I would change it to new time. The whole process will not be so. And so.
Right.
And this is the first step.
Yeah.
All right, let's close here. Where are we?
Consideration 3, water 3-year, 7-year feasibility study. The comment here, the suggestion is that perhaps what we need to do is accelerate this. There are simpler and residential customers could do to reduce and reuse water. Of course, there's water rights associated with reusing rainwater and things like that, so that would need to be investigated. But educating people to that, and I think Nelson sent out just today.
Rain barrel, rain harvesting workshops.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's October 21st and October 28th. So I love this, that's already, and it's interactive.
It's so nice. So our feel here is that a 7 year seems like a long time, and that we should be doing things a little bit quicker, especially some of the low hanging fruit, what can be done to reuse your water, and things like that. Does that feel okay for the council to look at that?
Yeah.
Consideration non-potable. The study was fairly vague on which places utilize non-potable water. And one of the things I think we wanted to try to do was to identify a little bit more specifically, if there are opportunities for non-salt water use in other facilities, schools, but your all the parks are covered in.
So the what? This is how I think it works. Anything that's adjacent to the city ditch is access to local water. We don't have any non-potable infrastructure underground. So, like Rotova is adjacent to city ditch, so it's gonna have access to, I think they use non-potable water there. Miller Field, is access to the city ditch adjacent as well. So those are really, without putting in new underground infrastructure, those are the only ones. So that would.
Bellevue, I think Bellevue Park is also non-potable. Well, unless they truck it in, but the ditch
That's
is
right, it does go
right
by
across,
too.
development. But I've also seen trucks where they're hauling non-potable water. So can't they apply that if those are our, trucks hauling non-potable water to, maybe it's the other park, but,
I would question, I wonder about the sustainability of public water.
okay, true. Is it one problem versus another,
Yeah.
certainly. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Investigate what the options to be. Continue. Water saves money because we're not processing the water too much. The offset is a problem.
But it is pretty cool that we have a lot of farms along the city. edge. That's cool. We already have to. That's my question. You need to fix the city. That's not realize that the water is-
Into right out the city. Uh, question, so this is a memo to the council. For our revisions. Cities. I'll be sending this back to the Charles Valley.
I thought it was a council.
I think, yeah, that's what the council would have to make a statement.
I got some feedback, we got some Anderson on this piece.
Well, and I want to say, like, 358, I'm not, I wouldn't particularly to make it the same price all the way. Meaning it's where we're not. Large houses or whatever. I don't know, I'm curious how many of them, but it would be nice to have some data.
That's a good start.
Just make it a neat.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
So that was on.
So then I.
400. But that's just for the small subset.
That wants to go.
If you make it 350.
Did you go to? Yeah, we're talking. That's the equity plus that. I mean, I guess we could revise this, if you feel that it would be more palatable to council to say, let's the fee or, resist it.
Tier structure, it's not easy to do. So I wonder if this is a good alternative. Yes,
That's,
They're saying one rate for the regardless of.
I'm sure there are things that are.
I'm trying to understand, 358 per 1,000 gallons up to 400,000 gallons.
that's the way that it's read. And
Like,
I,
that's a really great, who gives us 400,000? 1,000 gallons a month is. Because this. commercial users or something like, I don't know, this is even.
This is right out of this thing, and I'm.
So your consultants can probably drill down.
But if it makes, you know, unless it's, logical to have it be, we charge the flat down rate. It's definitely, it's just 400 gallons per month.
Yeah.
I think that's the major takeaway. We can affect that, right, that's socially involved.
The guy that I was.
So it was my understanding
I was
that
talking
this,
with somebody else.
this memo, feedback is, I believe, the 18th of October. So,
And all of a sudden, some guy comes from playing it, just playing. Okay, we're going with me.
so how can we vote on this?
What?
So if somebody can just propose an amendment to it, and have that recorded, and then go back and change it in the document before it's done. Yeah.
And Christine had some good ends. And parts of the few works out. I think they're great, so. There was no substance other than.
So we can adopt, yes, please.
Could I just continue passing around my edits and then we could vote on them as a whole?
I think we.
I think these guys read them.
I've got it. So if we can vote on Christine's amending language. and
Just a
then
moment.
we come to a conclusion on and then to fair share gesture. Or just change it. I think we'd be in a good place. Does anyone have any objections to Christine's?
We got the amendment, we go back and.
Yeah.
Here are the amendments, and you have to keep pushing the screen so it doesn't lock you out. Green is the wordsmithing and edits.
Oh. And that never happened. I can't remember on when I jumped out of the line, I couldn't breathe.
We will vote on Christine's, adopting Christine's amending language first. Then we'll vote on amendment. Or modifications. Yeah. So if Rick, Mike, and Christine wants to go ahead and make these final changes, so that's what we're gonna vote on tonight, and that's what we will see for consideration to the water.
That's not really. It's not outside zone. That's so scary. And I'll be right back with your one meal.
Well, you guys all got Jim Rath, yeah? Anyone else need to see Christine? Good, good, good.
What's I said? Let's see. You know, the work is.
Christine, do you have any final thoughts? These got something. Okay. I think they look good. They tighten everything up. Thank you, Christine. So, I would entertain a motion to adopt Christine's edits to the
One more, one.
water efficiency. Motion by Rick, is there a second? Second by Christine. Let's take a quick vote. All in favor of adopting Christine's amendment to water efficiency plan? All opposed, nay. Okay, Christine's amendments are adopted. Now let's let's vote on making a modification to the fair share objective. What's flat? That is the adoption of one flat rate, bringing down the current monthly water rate for users over 400,000 gallons. From $2.58. One tier cost for all water users. simply due to the fact that we do a lower rate for use that is incentive. I'll entertain a motion. So make that motion to the. Michael, move.
The only question I've got that may change my idea is if somehow there's residential farm or if this is commercial. I didn't get clarity in the language.
Our assumption was it was all residential.
The way it was worded was residential. You know, that the, I guess a farm would be considered residential. I don't know.
Okay, I can see.
If they've got agriculture's great.
Yeah. They're selling a product.
Just a really dumb question. I got really excited when I first read the study online and what I misunderstood was this. I really thought this was, this table 4 spoke of actual reduction in water production based on the efficiency programs. And that I thought this amount resulting in annual reduction in water production of 388 acre feet of water a year, I'm assuming a year. I thought that was actually a reduction in production, which to me would be the ultimate goal of any conservation thing, would be no longer draw on the resource. Have more go down as soon as water is not sending as much downstream as it should. So I was curious why it refers to production. Am I asking the wrong question right now? I want you to be able to hear.
Above that level.
So the reason why they use the word production, because some layperson actually misunderstood it as reducing production, which is, would have been the most ultimate fantastic, all this and this, all this and additional density, and then actually end up being able to reduce less water at the Allen water treatment plant, draw less on the south plant. So why do they refer to water production rather than a reduction of demand of that or anticipated reduction?
I don't think it's a dumb question. I'm not sure.
Okay. It confused me.
Yeah, I could see why.
I'm wondering if this rate decrease. That's commercial or industrial use or something like that. Yeah, and if they're, if this water is being, the company uses 500,000 gallons of this. I'm not sure how I feel about raising it up to the same rate as everybody else. I do understand it.
I think we all,
Yeah.
if we sent this without a modification, it was then found out that, hey, there are some legitimate reasons why this change are there. Some legitimate reasons why there are two different rates. That would be their prerogative. Saying, no, thank you for this particular amendment, while still considering our.
Well, what I can do is you can see this as it is or not perfect. I can do a council request just on behalf of the commission.
Right.
And then we'll, I just ask you the water department.
Immediate, right?
Why is it this different? This question affects. And then the council can have that discussion with that information.
If that would inform y'all's discussion, then that's the goal.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, let's consider.
That's got it, yeah.
We could,
That's the key.
we could make our position clear that we think for households,
Yes.
it should all be equal. We don't need to get into industrial, but we could say at least qualitatively, households, residential.
So is that okay? Hearing that, sure, put it.
Like just making them like this, if you could just set, make an amendment to say for residential customers or whatever.
I make a motion to change it to just residential.
Yeah, we can take out, because it has to develop a tiered rate structure that encourages conservation by penalizing higher water use. Residential customers.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
one part out about the commercial. Okay.
And we talked about flat instead of tier.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about flat instead of flat.
Are we okay with flat then for residential, is that your plan? Okay, so what we're going to try is develop a flat rate of $3.50 for structure that encourages conservation by penalizing high water use for the residential customers.
It doesn't reward high usage.
Right.
Right.
Convert to a flat rate of $3.58.
So that
You can just say,
it stays.
convert to a flat rate structure,
The amounts.
for residential customers.
58, is that what he was saying?
I think three
That
fifty.
makes it equitable for-
Yeah, $3.58.
Right, isn't it 350 right now?
And that's,
Oh,
I don't know the dollar amounts well enough to know this. Or into that 358, so I want to be careful not to say, if that includes the fee or if that's, I don't think the number is needed.
Okay,
Yeah.
so flat rate structure.
Flat rate.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Flat rate structure, okay.
What is the rate now, Joe?
Sounds like
$3.58.
358.
So it's already a flat rate, so.
It's not-
I'll stop asking questions because I'm confused and I'm not sure I understand.
There's a lot of-
I think Christine made the motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Stephen. So let's think about all in favor of adopting this application to the state water plan. Say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay.
Who?
So moved. Great. Thank you, guys. And
So the rate goes down?
Great, Mike, really
Right.
drilling down.
It goes
Thank you,
down.
everybody, for the conversation tonight. I'm gonna go.
You use a lot, you pay less per gallon.
Right. Okay, that explains what's going on. I didn't.
Yeah.
Was that a motion to go to the council?
But that was
That was just the amendment.
Okay.
We have a motion to approve. Water efficiency, edits to the water efficiency plan advisory. So by Mike, second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. We're done. We got it. We're perfect. Good job. Thank you for the conversation. I'll go find. So now we're going to move to the second part of our agenda. We're going to do a tour of drill gathering. For all of those listening, wish you could be here with us. But we're going to go enjoy George and what drill gathering. All right, please, Tim, do we stay on your gas while we tour?
So we could take a hiatus, like a break, right? We can go on break.
We pause.
Unless this is part of the official meeting, I'm not sure. Then I can just bring the recorder with us and we can say we're moving into this.
No.
What do you mean here? What do you like?
Like,
Or-
hope it works.
Tim, did you get that down as a,
I did, yeah.
Do you think we can get that back?
Yeah, they're gonna wait.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What burger, the turkey burger?
yeah, let's do it. No, we're pretty backed up with council requests right now. But yeah, it should be doable.
All right, Kenny, let's do a quick tour of George, and then we just walk around and ask questions along the way.
Well, what's the small you're eating?
No, already.
Oh.
But the, I've been just one, such a. Yeah. Oh, I know.
I think it's there, right there, I think. I think it's in there.
How are you?
I think so.
I think it's another, local.
Everybody in here?
Yeah, I think we're out here. Who owns Bendigo? Most, appreciate it. Matt, Slacken.
No. Glad you're gonna. Welcome, everybody. Crazy, midlife crisis, fourth child, any number of things, but, we opened up this business, going back a little bit. This used to be an automotive, gas station originally and an automotive repair shop. Opened up in 1952, started by the Engel family, Bill Engel and his, I believe it was his sons and maybe even some grandchildren. Operated until about 2014. Serviced this community for many years. I think the eldest son who operated the business became ill suddenly. They decided to get out of the business. Right around the time this neighborhood was kind of coming back to life. In many respects, the hospital started reinvesting in some of their properties they own. Some really interesting history here beyond Bill's automotive and the services they provide for many years. They sponsored soccer teams, softball teams, compared to all this memorabilia, much of which you'll see on display here or repurposed as tables and whatnot. We salvaged a lot of the raw materials during demolition and rebuilt tables. For the big tables that are sitting here behind you all. So we kind of upcycled some of those materials and we used them. A lot of the memorabilia from the automotive shop, you'll see kind of scattered throughout signage. We've turned some things into lamp. That's not one of them. We've turned some things into lamps, things of that nature. So fun connection with the legacy of this building. But also, many of you probably know maybe better than I do, there's kind of a fun agricultural connection here. There was a nursery that operated here for many years. I believe it was right across the street from us here. And then beyond that, even further back, Maplewood, some of you all maybe support me on this. I believe it was one of like the biggest growers of carnations in the United States for many years until that stuff mostly overseas, fortunately. But it's kind of a fun connection to the big dairy farm, which most of you probably heard of. The dairy operation that went for many years. It's fun to connect the history of the city. But we moved to this part of town. My family, I should say, lived in Wash Park for many years. Was raising young kids, moved to this part of town right around 2014. And then this building went on sale. We got a builder bought it very briefly. He was had an idea in mind. It didn't work out and had a for sale or lease sign up right around the time I sold the business, tech business. And moved to this neighborhood. I've always been a gardener and foodie and love to cook and read different parents. So food is a big part of my culture growing up. Want to do something in the kind of the food space. The original concept is what you see there at Tyler right now, hydroponic farm. What's the original? I can fix this. It occurred to me that I have it's all good on this. I feel like our parents. My apologies. You're turning it down. I'm sorry. Anyways, moved to this town right around the time that I was looking to do some kind of next chapter in my life. Saw the potential in this neighborhood, moved from like South Pearl Street, Flat Park, which is very active and is many years ahead of kind of what we had in mind. But just thought, what a great area this is. Cucina Taco, it just opened up not too long before that. And we just found that we were driving everywhere we were going, but then just south of here. We were getting in the car and going to Wash Park downtown. So it just seemed like there was a lot of potential here and a lot of things were happening. As I mentioned, a lot of dumb luck and good timing, but right around the time we started our project, other things started happening. As you all know, we'll see from the rooftop, almost everything around us is new in the last 3 to 5 years. I believe Inglewood has done a really nice job of managing that progress with some of the negative things that may come with that, such as gentrification and things like that. We've got great neighbors who've been here for many, many years, and we've got lots of new young families moving into the community. We've been really fortunate to meet many of them, and provide a place to gather. Truly is kind of one of the core foundations of our concepts. And we started out originally as like a hydroponic farm. We saw things happening as quickly as they were. We thought, this place would be great as a coffee shop, as a restaurant. Originally, we wanted to grow food, sell it to restaurants, schools, hospitals. And then it just kind of evolved quickly. So we added the restaurant part of the concept along the way in the design process. We added the market and coffee shop, and really that's kind of what brings people in. And it's a way we can share what we do here with the public. And it's probably what we're most known for. It's really the original idea was really based around this urban farm concept, which you'll see throughout here. So we have 3 farming components. The hydroponic farm, which I mentioned, year round, we grow all of our lettuces there. It is currently under construction. You may have seen inside. We just did the last harvest last week, and my partner Jeff, who runs that side of our business, has got some big plans. So we've learned a lot in a couple of years. So we're going to make some improvements to the efficiencies. We're going to upgrade our RO system. And you might know I'm a pretty squeaky wheel when it comes to Englewood water. It's truly a challenge. I mean, I don't mean that because I'm with an Englewood audience, but it's probably the one single biggest complaint we get. And it fluctuates throughout the year. But we're doing one of the ways we have to do it in order to grow healthy plants because our water monitoring, we know it's looking for the city mayor. Peter, a great guy, but very good to us and very communicative when it comes to these matters. We'll call them and they'll be like, how'd you know that? We're monitoring water constantly because of the hydroponic system. Once the stuff outside can tolerate that, and partners with the water tends to let us know sooner or later that things got through. But
What does that do to your?
well, it's really hard. We have to use a lot more offsetting to the pH down, pH up. Usually pH down we have to use. And then the electrical conductivity that we measure, which is kind of the optimal measurement for growing plants. We just have to babysit a lot more. It's hard on the equipment. It's really hard on like the dishwasher, coffee equipment, things of that nature. Again, I'm not bringing that up. So to complain because I have a captured audience, but it's a thing. And I know there's a big plan. There's a plan in place. That's right. And I share that with everybody who comes in here. But that's something that Jeff is working on right now. In addition to some of the plumbing and whatnot, the way we use water, the way we catch it, reuse it, there's some efficiencies we can gain. And a lot of, it's really an advanced prototype. So now we've learned in 5 years of thinking with the system. We're going to make some improvements in the slow time here for us. And then fire it back up, probably close to the end of the year, mid-December is the plan. So, yeah.
Do you sell lettuce to other folks, or is it just for your own use?
We have in the past, you might remember those, we had coolers along this whole wall, and we still have them. I think we're gonna bring them back. We tried something a little different this summer. We're gonna try and make a little more of a retail space, and we were using this for some small scale events, and now we're having the second batch, we bring that back. We want to launch a product line of our own products. We make beer pickle sauces, everything else of that nature, which we think has some great long-term potential to. We're always looking for ways to offset the seasonality of the restaurant industry, which is really what we've never meant to get into the restaurant business. Truly, it was like this weird evolution, which no regrets, it's great anyway. It's also the hardest part. All the labor stuff you all I'm sure have heard and read about. The impacts of during and COVID and all those things. We try to do things a little bit differently here. We pay our employees a living wage. We always paid money well above minimum wage. You might have seen some of the menu information you saw if you ordered food. We added a string of 20% service charge. That does not go to my pocket. That goes to the salaries of the employees. We're working really hard to retain and attract a really high quality employee here. Hard to do with the mission and what we do. They can do local food or community or many of the other kind of touch points we have in our concept. And we want to keep them. And that's really hard thing to do. So, for example, full transparency and spread the word. If anyone tries, it's we're not making money yet, but we feel like we're on track, and that's one of the steps toward to do so. Our line cooks, for example, they start at $24 an hour, up to 28, right? Typically, that's like 15 to 17. Our servers make,
They start $18 an hour, they work on 22 plus potential for tips. We leave that door open because many of our customers would say, well, I still want to leave the tip. So that option exists. Try to work that very clearly. Nonetheless, we try to do it a little differently. We run things more like a business than kind of the traditional restaurant model, which is, in my opinion, as a business person who came into the restaurant industry at 50 years old and 25 years into my career, it was an industry that was pretty broken before COVID, and I think COVID was exaggerated, putting magnifying glass on the mental health issues, compensation, the employee retention, all those things that has been kind of permanently used for the last couple of years. But that said, I'll stop. Share more about what we're doing here. So we have the hydroponic farm on the rooftop, which I'm going to show you. We have a greenhouse where we do a variety of things. We've done everything from tomatoes up there, cucumbers, peppers, lots of flowers, lots of herbs we use year round. And then the third component is actually about a quarter-mile south of here. We have an outdoor farm, which is in my backyard. And most of the things that you enjoy tonight or in recent months will become the outdoor farm. It's very seasonal. But it's about a quarter acre, and we grow, I think, 80 some tomato plants, similar number of peppers, more herb, more lettuce, rhubarb.
Your favorite dish on the menu?
10 beehives. It's like kind of like saying, like, who's your favorite kid?
Well, who's there?
Fair. I would say burgers are good. I love that turkey burger. That's a nice switch up. And Philly cheesesteak is good. The vegetarian side, I think, love the Greek salad. Yeah. And the urban farmer salad, so newer addition that we'll get to it. Yeah, that's fine.
You mentioned the hospital. Are you still providing food or something?
We don't bring it to them, although we did during the early stage of COVID, we did delivery service to the hospitals. And then when things opened up a little bit, we pulled back delivery. I think we traveled really well. However, we are rethinking that for this winter. We have a wonderful relationship with both hospitals, especially Craig. The leadership of Craig is in your office, and we're grateful for. Jandel has become a good friend. Diane is just here all the time. They bring, colleagues and staff members over. We host a lot of events. So one of the ways we offset the seasonality of chaos of the restaurant is we host a lot of private events as well as public events, fundraisers. We've had Mayor Olson speak here in the past. She's a regular customer, former mayor. So, that concept of like community is a big part of it. Anytime we use a way to bring people together, and it's all kind of. But I feel like we just scratched the surface of the hospital. That's why we've hosted a number of like ER department celebrations, retirement parties. During the late stages of COVID, we get regular calls. We should do this thing. Got this budget. Can we throw a party? So we hosted a number of department celebrations to kind of recognize their staff having come out at different times. But beyond that, there's been a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
The council was talking a lot and the study section about being excited about businesses trying to at least sort of have that interaction with the producing something that's also supporting important business or financial institution or medical institution that produces. So I would just.
No, that's okay. And I know that because the hospital said to us many times, they're always looking for ways to get back together. And some of those events we co-hosted with them, as we kick around. We're actually in the planning stages of developing a program with Craig, which I'm really proud and excited about, as a location and a site for re-immersion for some of their patients who are almost ready to kind of go back to the real world. In everything from kitchen prep to cleaning to, the dirty work that needs to get done, place running, the yard maintenance, the garden maintenance, property maintenance. That's something we're trying to define and do based on what people are able to do, is comfortable doing, how the safety is the future. And we don't want to discourage anyone who's going through a pass with them. But that's something that I think our first trial is later this month. 5 to 6 patients and Craig who are in that stage of their recovery, that we have, well, we're gonna help. That's something I would say.
That is exciting.
I'll be you guys share out, I guess. We could walk and talk, but yeah, I just wanted to commend you guys. I feel like you're one of the best, at least in Inglewood, in terms of just maximizing the space for utilization, because you've got pollinator gardens out here. And you've got the restaurant, coffee, I think greenhouse, and there's 3 layers, I think, that vertically, or there are 2.
Two, technically, if you're talking horizontal planes.
Yeah,
But that's a keen observation on your part. When we built the place, we wanted it to be, modular, very versatile. That's one of the things like sports, I use the analogy with our designers, you go to those modern fields at a high school, like Inglewood High School field, and you got the lines for soccer, lacrosse, football. Idea to think forward, of all the different things, we want to be able to do it all. So as you noticed, in the room where you all sat, that started out as all those big community tables. During COVID, when we had to spread people out, we moved a couple of those out of storage, and we added a few more 2-top, 4-top, with a little more flexibility to do things from private events, be able to easily move those things, even the banquets are independent of each other. We can move those and put them this way, this way, it's not entirely going to. We had a concert in there a few weeks ago, and so far, it's a really neat organization. It's a nice little intimate setting, so that. It was, yeah.
And then now the coffee part is supposed to.
Well, it is. In the morning, it tends to be kind of your coffee crowd working on their laptops and then that may remain, that happens throughout the day. I don't know if welcome to sit there and use it as a coffee shop, but that's kind of overflow seating in the summer. It's a place to seat large parties, a place to seat wheelchairs. When there's multiple wheelchairs, it's a place to be quiet, comfortable. Which we do get obviously a lot of traffic and wonderful regular business for many patients and families and pregnant Swedish, but it's not uncommon. If you've been before to see 5 or 6 or more wheelchairs, moving through the space. So a lot of what we did here was very intentional. One, because it's the right thing to do, but as neighbor, with that in mind, other people,
can we see some of this?
yeah, let's do it. It's just quieter in here. It's a great conversation. To give you the backstory, and now we can move along. You all probably noticed the patio on the way out.
Yeah.
Very happy when the weather's nice. A little strange weather.
Near your book.
We've always had them. I think it's evolved a little. Yeah. It's all kind of on brand. It's a lot of gardening, cooking, sustainability. I had the honor of, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the author Wendell Berry, who I'm a huge fan of, an early pioneer in the farming and sustainability world. And his daughter was here with a family friend, and I was embarrassed that we didn't have any of the books. We usually do.
Is this a show? The Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat?
Yeah, it's down on Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Documentary. Food stuff's very popular. They were reaching, during COVID, they were going deep. But that's a real popular. That's all right. I'm not familiar with that. He's a number of fiction, and it all has to do with farming and Kentucky native, where my wife is from, which how we met his daughter. But his big one was the Unsettlement of America, which is like, almost like seeing in the future. And it was talking about, well, just like, large scale farming, large scale food industry, and while at the time we were all, this is big, cheap, fast, easy, right? And then the long term impacts of what that might look like many years going forward. Sure enough, there's some factors. We do not have these books at the moment, but. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't know how good it's gonna be. Or yeah, we can get it to work, but okay.
Before we move on. Obvious, but I think this is one of the this had 2 listings When we bought the space, then it was, you know, an inch thick. Including the ceiling, which we were in our designers figured out. Power washing to. Now, it's pretty, and so it's not really changing much of that cost. And these tables were built by the demo. The banquets are new and to look vintage, but. Accommodate for that. We pop our heads into the rest of the building. A lot of books and things.
You could jars. What's up? You should get a jar and everything.
I'm gonna be done at 8.
I can,
We might have met that once.
I mean, the stuff that Mel has. Definitely, I mean, I could either fall through it or.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send it.
Okay, cool, that's fine. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course.
We're closed on Sundays and Mondays. We were tempted to bring that back every day someday. What we learned very quickly is that it's so rare in the restaurant business to have two. How to become almost like this benefit, a staff benefit, people have to do interviewing people. I mean, people there like, oh my God, I died in like 2 days off. So we left it as is. Fridays are part of it. Saturday, to get to, but just some of the things I mentioned, keep it up here, but some nice little acts like table, our old car hoods that are designed to be fabricated into tables, you know, the ball ring, I mean, for demolition, the corner light was an old wheel balancing component that goes to that screen. Just fun ways to install the history of the legacy of Bill Barno and also, you know, minimize the cost of the landfill. Yes, main dining is the only addition to the building, that's not original. And we added the restaurant, everything from like the kitchen, which is behind this wall, was new build. Everything else is the original. Let's go over here, up the front stairs, a little more. The restaurant. Thank you. Thanks. I saw you doing the big. Oh, yeah. Regard was a big thing. The city actually allowed us to go with a minimal amount of parking spaces required, with the understanding that we had parking spots available. Craig was nice enough to let us park there for the first couple of years. So we were able to put this garden in place. That's attract pollinators. We did have bees on the roof at one point. Yeah, right. It's nice. There's some tomatoes out there that we'll go pick from time to time. Where'd you find the chairs over? These chairs? Yeah. I think Webster on them. Oh, ours. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I find them to be kind of uncomfortable myself. Yeah. People like them and they're durable.
Look at me, I'm taking the tour. I'm just hopping on. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's probably flexibility. Building code. I just had a great question. From your name. Christine just asked if the market was originally structured. There was a, what was the office of Bill's Automotive was in that footprint, slightly smaller, and the foundation was right. So when we, were assessing the engineering requirements, we had to almost rebuild that. We had to rebuild most of that anyway, so we had to rebuild it, slightly out of the footprint. more or less the same location, about, I'd say it's about 25 to large. And just, it was more something what we want to do, retail. So, into a sort, there was something there, very similar shape. This is one of the largest, and in the rebuilding process, maybe the durable enough, with the proper drainage and not similarly, the rooftop, the original rooftop up here, we're standing on, in the bad shape. And then we make up here, it triggered a whole bunch of engineering requirements. So if there's ever a tornado in Denver, place to be, it's not going to make sense. Crazy. In any case, that was a pretty big decision. We were originally going to just do some farming up here, and we saw the opportunity to do more full season year round growing up here. And then as the epiphany came of like, what a great event space this would make, and what a nice place to do community events, bringing extra money into the restaurant, other things to the business by hosting. And we've done everything up here from weddings to corporate events, done live music up here. And then when the weather permits during the nicer times of the year, we actually do service up here as well, lunch and dinner. It's kind of week to week depending on the weather. But it makes a really nice space. We actually we'll do a little circle around the back here and you can see we added shade this year, which made a huge difference in the summer because it gets pretty hot up here. Especially for space, which is going to just 6, get us with the mountains, get a beautiful sunset here at the point. While our view is shrinking a little bit. When we built this, somebody mentioned the multi-use, so we decided to make it a working space. Then we had to put the parapet wall wrapped with flower beds, growing beds. We actually heat in there, so we haven't utilized that. We're able to grow, extend our season by this is mostly kind of interactive for customers to engage with, and also just more. It's wonderful. You said if you ever had lunch up here for dinner, you might remember seeing hummingbirds and butterflies up here. It's kind of cool. But it's really neat to that world woven in there, little flowers. We allow them to picture and I grew up with a gardening family, so I can kind of take for granted, but I'm always amazed and appreciate, I guess, now how few people, adults, educated adults, don't witness spirit. Artist with one.
Do you like art?
On the way up, we just had the first season, we had 6 beehives, fall roots there. They did great up here, except for when this time of year, when the fall was drying up. And we'd have the doors open like on a night like tonight, and it was nice enough to have the doors open. They would say, discover the bars, and they would get trapped in that big glass window. We'd be up there for 7 o'clock. That's when we get in the garden. And it was all kind of part of the show. People really enjoyed it. Nobody ever got stung. It got pretty bad like the second month of that first fall, winter. And Jeff Johnson, my partner, said, I think we gotta do something about it. We had another 6 or 8 out of my house at the outdoor farm down the road. So they all live out there now. I have to believe, they travel up to 5 miles, they still come visit us here. We still get lots of bees and they're producing honey out there for us and pollinating our garden. So we might bring maybe 1 or 2 hives back. Your honey down. It is. Yeah. It's been kind of a work in progress, so it's always time here. We're moving those big boxes, and that started about 3 weeks ago. Slowly pull the frames down, we leave it for the bees, they can take it through. And then, just prepping, getting the harvest to the honey here. And then it's jarring it, labeling it. It's definitely amazing, but it's wonderful. Really good. We use it in the restaurant. Then we have enough to sell. That's out there, and a whole bunch of. Have that on. Let's do a quick lap. Immediately after we open this email, we're going to go up and down survival mode. But that's that's a separate business. The final phase is like some of the polling time. Okay. But yeah, that's one of the business models.
Smells like life. Yeah. It's cool. Take a photo.
I'm from where it's very similar concept. More of the main side. It's in Denver, the stone throw. So yeah, we're actually getting ready to start planting tomatoes in one row for the winter time. There'll be more herbs, lots of flowers, we need to cut flowers to decorate in the restaurant.
So down below the hydroponics, that's soil left.
Correct.
Fascinating. How does that work? They're all just nutrients from the water.
Correct. Well, we add those in, so we manage the water. So what you see in front of you, when you walk that, the first 6 rows, each of those are independently controllable, both light, the timing of the lights, and the nutrients that we feed them are independently controllable. So we have essentially 6 microclimates. Even the temperature of the rooms vary depending on the time of year, both for the wall, exterior wall, the floor, things like spinach and whatnot are a little more conducive to that part of the room. But we provide, there's it's not organic, it's natural waste nutrient that we use, and we only grow greens and herbs down there. Because of the nature of the vertical system, anything that would flower, bud, or fruit would get heavy and block what's below it. You didn't notice maybe way out, you can see there's some silver bars that hang. They're actually supposed to be lights that face away from you as you're standing in that room. And those shine onto the plants from either side, 6 rows deep. And they're off right now because the system was decommissioned for maintenance. You're here at the right time. To turn on. Usually runs at night, but the mornings are on.
Yeah.
Now about an hour or two. Yeah.
And so is this your full vision of what you want?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's how it started. I've had a lot of help from really amazing people, including Jeff. Jeff and I have known each other for, going on 20 years. Our older boys played soccer together and baseball, and our younger boys the same age and similarly played sports together. Lost touch with them for a couple of years, and I was looking at this idea, and I named them somewhere. Jeff's background is construction, mine's in marketing, branding, technology. They bought the building, was in the design phase. He was kind of looking to branch out and do some different things. And then Jeff's baby is really that hydroponic system. We were going to buy a system similar to that. That business got sold right as we were about to sign on the dotted line. We kind of took a hard left and came up with our own.
Two midlife crises.
Yes, we were just a few years old. Same stage. Yes, midlife crisis. 3rd child of Jeff's piece, 4th one.
It'd be worse. This is
No.
beautiful.
It has been, the timing was, I don't know if it was good or bad, but we opened
4 months before COVID started, December 2019. We just hired and trained, 30 employees, and some of them are still with us, which is something I'm also really proud of.
I will say, as often as I come in here, I see the same faces, and that's not the face of, that's good, the attention is noticeable. I guess that speaks to your culture, pay structure, and everything.
It's something we work very hard.
Yeah. But I agree to their salary.
Some are salaried, some are hourly, but all are well above it. And also the nice thing about what we offer here, because we got the farming, the event, the culinary side, market, is that people of one discipline, like the line cook, let's say, can, is interested in bees, they can come out and work on bees for a day, or somebody in the coffee shop might want to go a little bit more farming, they can spend some time in the hydroponic farm. So we do try and offer some of that cross pollination. So expose people to different things. But the downside is sometimes you don't try to steal somebody for the other. Generally speaking, that's been acceptable, but we have lost some good kitchen staff for the farm team. Sometimes they go over there and they realize farming is really hard. The kitchen is hard too. House. To your point earlier, very much attention. Repurpose the OGW, these planners on the wheels, so that we can roll these down the hallway, and then we use this whole north end. Dinner, we've done yoga classes up here, fundraisers, like weddings. When the weather permits, we can do indoor, outdoor. We get about 50 people up here. Indoors is pretty restricted, about 20 is comfortable, 25 is pushing it. We announced it. Yeah, it was pretty successful. It's a great output. It was like semi-organized, we did pretty well, and considering like try and do it a little more, a little more intention and build that program a bit. Yeah. So, is there anything you want us to do? Anything that you can be working on, but that you priorities that we can be a voice for you? We are an advisory board to city council. Job governance, right, but just wanted to get those words together. You know, we're a new conviction. Spread the word. We don't have it all figured out yet. This is still very much a work in progress. Really appreciate that in the city. I would tell fellow business owners and some of the Englewood has been very business friendly. Something I would in the community. Neighbors. So. I bring everyone the numbers down here for especially as the top here. Anything from the group tonight? I know we might have. We've head down. Any questions? I know I'm doing a lot of talking. Yeah, I wanted to open up to.
Is there anything Inglewood was doing better for sustainability in any regard? Intentionally brought.
Selfishly, like trash recycling, compost service was really nice, because that's a pretty big line item for us. But I also understand the water thing. I can't say enough. But I know that there's a plan in place and please move forward. Now beyond that, anything that you all can use and advocate for, supports, people doing good work in this space. There's some really amazing technology out there, some things that I think would be game changing. Really like anything that kind of supports innovation in space that falls in your wheelhouse and if you will. I think that's great. Yeah, the grant funding that's been available through the city has been amazing. There's another one that just came out last week.
Are you qualified for all of the things for the small business and loans? Yeah, this one's, like, renew and refurbish. Any money you're spending, you gotta keep it under space. It's been money available, and it's like, figure out here today. The fund development. There you go. Glad I was part of that. It was Anglo Chamber and City of England, collaboration. Reviving renew agreement. It's called. It's great.
They went really over. I think they opened up last week in 2020.
Yeah, no, I think 24 hours, which I was only good.
Yeah, that's right.
You do. Within a day. But yeah, I mean, everybody's pretty. Thing we can do, help support you all, certainly easy place to host a meeting, those kinds of things. Yeah, thanks, no problem. It's part of it. We don't have. Any questions from the commission? Yeah, the public. Make sure we have. Like I said, it's kind of, it looks like the plane's outside. You see the dahlias have all been flipped and they're starting to dry out.
George, you can see where you're branching out.
There's no industry like the gardening industry that loves their puns. Maybe the hair salon, curl up and dye. The hair salon love their gardening puns. Yeah. Yes, they do. That's what my wife can pick up our dinner to. For you. I'll let you picture it. So we're about to change in November, but we're going to keep it open until 4.9 a weekday, 10 on Friday. Get the work. Support local, grab something on the way out. Okay, well, I didn't keep you too long. You said all right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're good. Okay. Let's go down. We do a couple of closing business items with Tim, and then we can wrap it up and be on our way to them. Any other questions? I know I've talked a lot. This is we have a problem. Yeah.
Done in integration with the schools, like, then what kids can come up and learn.
We have, as recently as a few weeks ago, we had, there's a pretty cool project going on. Our dealership, Littleton Boulevard, and with the Englewood Swiss, we've had groups come tour here. Boys, some Englewood High School graduates, a couple of summers. We have participated in some of their events as a really donated to a lot of auctions. As far as that they will have a nice relationship. I'm always looking for more. To grow that. And it's like a poster child for someone who probably should have gone into some sort of trade instead of college. That totally took for granted, but I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And realized at 45 that I was meant to look at my hands. No regrets. I mean, it's how I got here. But I think it's a great, I think the trades are getting more attention now. They're sort of maybe underappreciated or not emphasized enough to young kids trying to figure out what they want to do. I see that coming back around, and I've been known to, lecture college kids about great opportunities in the culinary space, the farming space. After a couple of times, I'm trying to look. Anyways, yes, we have, and always hoping to do more. It's a great way to connect with the community. Appreciate those opportunities. Any other questions? Thanks, everybody. Nice to meet you all. And thanks for being here. Yeah, see you again. Yeah, you can taste it. Tastes like stevia.
Huh?
Really? Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, my God. That's actually really good.
I did too.
No way.
Yeah. I like one. That's what brought me in.
Yes.
Yep.
Action allowed dreams on everything.
Yeah. Whether they can. Everybody in the area. Engineering requires.
If it's green, it's good.
this is prime location to all of the.
Yeah, my shoes on side. I know. I know.
Just want to make sure.
So much I can do with my hands full,
I
so I'm just
know,
trying
I
to be
just-
careful of it. I'm aware. Thank you though.
Looks like they still have that. Can we just meet like right here real quick and do some
Yeah.
final items?
Unless you just wanna not
Which-
do it,
what-
and
what do
I
you
don't,
think?
I
What do
don't
we,
care.
what do we have left?
Well, the agenda for next time, you want to give a,
Mel would be here, so would I work with you?
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I know for November, we had preliminary discussion about an Excel train the program. I don't know if y'all recall that. But in terms of other November meeting items, I'm all ears. Things to consider.
the turf replacement.
Authority
Yes.
with also sustainability lens, rather than later, so having the ability to shape them.
Yeah.
Having them come into a meeting.
We would have, sorry.
Have someone from the DDA come into
Yeah.
a meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. Do you know the timeline on PDA and what they need, what they're working on?
There's no rush because,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would, yeah, earlier is better, in my opinion. If we could hear from the DDA, that'd be great. There's
Yeah.
some people we could reach out to, maybe.
There's definitely things to talk about other than development in terms of
Okay.
this area, the city center is the place to
Okay.
buy and sustain
I
it.
think that'd be good.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a fascinating conversation and just to hear where they're at in the process. So potentially DDA, I can reach out, I can work with Mel or you, Tim, to reach out to maybe Eric Zerke or somebody. And then we can follow up with Mel and see where we are in the Excel train the trainers. I know that was a big item
She
too.
also had the turf replace, presentation of the grad student who's doing the turf.
Oh, in
replacement.
November?
Yeah.
Oh, what's
Is
his name?
A picture,
Picture-
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. That'd be wonderful if we could hear from Jeremiah. If he's ready and available,
Okay.
I think we can make that accommodation.
Okay.
So those are some tentative ideas. Feel free to pitch over the next course of the next month. Good work tonight on the edits to the water plan revisions. I'm excited about that. Actionable item, meetings at the council. Great work. Anything else?
Yeah, so Mel had a whole list of things, but just given the time, I'll either email them to you
Okay.
or next time, but just two somewhat time sensitive things. One is the Leaf pickup event.
Mhm.
So in the past, those of you who have volunteered know that it was an event where it was, I think, 2 Saturdays in the fall. People would just go on those days. We've switched to basically like a voucher model where people can pay $6 and go anytime during a set time frame. It's Monday to Friday during set hours. They can go, I think it's starting in October through like November 11th or so. And there's one Saturday, November 5th. That's kind of been flagged as an issue that, because a lot of people obviously work during the week, that we might be inundated on that Saturday. And so we're going to look and see if we can add another weekend day. But just so you're aware of that. And then the last request of all of you is, when this commission was KEB, Keep Inglewood Beautiful, one of the programs that they ran was a holiday lighting contest where people who lived in the community could put in for it, and they would get dinner, sometimes at the Malley Center, they would drive around in a van and they would judge. Last year was kind of a transition point where we moved that holiday lighting program to our communications department and our neighborhood resources office. However, the Sustainability Commission retained their basically right of first refusal to be the judges. So you're not on the hook. You don't run the program anymore. Mel doesn't run the program. It's run by a different office. However, you're welcome to be the judges. So it's one night. I don't
It
know
is
the
fun.
exact date.
It's fun.
It's early December. A few of you did it last year.
Yeah.
We got pizza. It was a lot of fun. So would you like to judge? No problem either way.
It's a good time. I think it was me, Bob, and Rachel who went last year. We got on the trolley. After we had some pizza, got on the trolley, drove around town for an hour. There's some mind-blowing Christmas decor that Inglewoodians put up. I would like to, but if the consensus is pass it on, that's fine. Rachel would be. She's the biggest advocate for that. Can I say yes?
Yeah,
We all
I
need to say
mean,
yes. We
You
need.
don't all need to, but would the commission like to? Last year was 3 or 4 people. It
Yeah.
doesn't need to be a lot. You don't all have to go, but would you as a commission like to kind of fill those seats? 3 and up, basically. We need at least 3 people. And if there's 10, there's 10, that would be
Is the
great. too.
communications department also having, providing judges, or that we've retained all of that?
Oh, it's your choice.
Yeah.
If you want to fill all the slots, you can. If you want to just have one or two of you do it, and then they would find volunteers.
Just speaking for me, I'm
Please.
Scrooge on this, I apologize, but I have no problem if anybody wants to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's great, but I don't want to.
Yeah,
During the week,
It's a weeknight.
it's a weeknight.
do it.
It's fun. And also like, if we have two or three, then, and
That's enough.
communications wants to put up a couple, great, we can meet halfway and have a grand old time.
Great.
Does that work?
That works.
Okay,
Just if there ends up being a
fun.
majority of you, would have to post it as a meeting, but that's
Sure,
fine.
yeah. We're on there.
That's fine.
That's it. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion and seconded instantly.